Untouchable, Chapter 1, Tears. Angel, have you seen my monocle? Alastor called out as he got himself ready for the dinner event that Charlie was hosting for the hotel. Ain't it on the bedside table? Angel replied from the bathroom. Alastor's smile grew when he found his monocle right where his partner said it had been. After putting on his monocle, Alastor headed into the bathroom with the intent of checking his hair and clothes in the mirror. "Oh, great goodness gracious in heaven! Have you no shame?" Alastor cried out in disgust when he had accidentally walked in on Angel in the act of urinating. "Shame? What's that?" Angel joked with a smirk as Alastor turned his back to him with a scoff. "Now, we are running a little late," Alastor informed Angel as he straightened his tie. "I know," Angel replied somewhat sheepishly once he had finished relieving himself. "How do I look?" he asked before flushing the toilet. "Perfect," Alastor sharply replied, his tone filled with disgust. "You ain't even looking at me," Angel pointed out, provoking Alastor to finally turn around in order to examine his partner's appearance. Angel was dressed in a long, stunning cream-colored fur coat with pastel pink vertical stripes. He was also wearing his usual black high-heeled leather boots underneath, as he smiled at Alastor with an expectant look. "I must say, darling, you do look rather marvelous for once," Alastor complimented Angel on his for once conservative attire. "You really mean it, Al?" Angel's mismatched eyes lit up with excitement as a blush crept over where his nose should have been. "Indeed I do. Now let's hurry off. The others are waiting for us after all," Alastor beamed. Angel then reached over to hug Alastor's arm, only to frown in slight disappointment at how uncomfortable Alastor seemed by his touch. "Off we go." Alastor then began to lead Angel Dust downstairs to the lobby before the spider could even have a chance to pull away. In the lobby stood a bunch of demons in formal attire. Most of them were no doubt there for the free food rather than Charlie's offer for rehabilitation. But Charlie seemed ecstatic that her invitations had been accepted by a vast majority of hell nonetheless. "You guys made it!" Charlie beamed at the sight of Angel and Alastor. She was wearing a long red sequin dress with a slit down the side. Her long blonde hair had been pulled back into an elegant bun. "You're late," Vaggie grimaced at the couple as she narrowed her one good eye at them. Vaggie was wearing a dark green satin floor-length gown with one sleeve, although she left her silver hair down. "Fashionably late, might I add," Alastor teased with his trademark grin, beaming more brightly than it ever had. He just loved getting under Vaggie's skin. "Angel, not that you don't look amazing and all, but isn't it a little hot for a fur coat?" Charlie then pointed out in mild concern for her hotel's only guest. "I'm always hot, baby," Angel joked with a flirtatious smirk as he waved his hand dismissively at Charlie's concerns. "Besides, in this coat, you can't tell if I'm 10 pounds or 100 pounds, Angel then added, albeit a bit anxiously this time, but no one seemed to notice. "Well, come to the dining room. Dinner's almost ready," Charlie announced as she excitedly began to lead everyone to the dining room. Once everyone had taken their seats, dinner had been served. With a somber expression, Angel merely poked at his food with his fork rather than eating it as he attempted to tune out the idle conversation that surrounded him. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" Angel was then startled out of his sinking feelings of loneliness by Charlie standing up and rapidly beginning to tap on her champagne glass with her fork. "I have a little surprise for you all. Introducing this evening's entertainment, Verosica Mayday!" Charlie announced as Verosica Mayday stepped into the center of the room with her microphone in hand. Verosica had dressed herself in a black, sleeveless, elegant mini dress with a slit up both sides. And she had also tied her long blonde hair back into a studious bun, similar to Charlie's. Angel instantly took notice of how sad Verosica appeared to be, as nearly the entire dining room burst into an uproar of cheers at her presence. "Hey, everyone," Veronica greeted with a sigh that caused her microphone to crackle slightly. "As requested by the Princess of Hell, I will be performing something a little different tonight. This song is dedicated to an old ex of mine," Veronica explained before beginning to softly sing, the entire dining room falling silent for her song. "Take a look at my body, look at my hands. There's so much here that I don't understand. Your face say these promises, whispered like prayers. I don't need them, because I've been treated so wrong. I've been treated so long, as if I'm becoming untouchable. I'm the slow-dying flower, I'm the frost of the hour, the sweet turning sour and untouchable." As Veronica somberly sang her sad tune, Angel could not help but find himself beginning to relate to her lyrics. During Veronica's lament, all Angel could bring himself to think about was Alastor. "Oh my gosh! Angel, are you okay?" Charlie gasped once she had been the first to take notice of the tears that were now practically gushing from Angel's eyes, causing his makeup to run. Yeah, I'm fine. I just really gotta take a leak." Angel thought of the best lie he could think of on the spot as he reached up to wipe his tears away. His attempt had been in vain as more tears streamed down his cheeks uncontrollably, staining his fur with ruined mascara. "Again?" Alastor questioned, instantly becoming suspicious of Angel's fib. He just knew something else had to be wrong with his date. Yeah, champagne, you know. It goes right through me. I'll be right back." Angel then excused himself to the restroom, ignoring Charlie's cries of concern as he sprinted into the lobby's public restroom, as quick as his high-heeled boots would allow him to run. Once he had made it to the men's room, Angel began to sob softly as he examined his appearance within the badly cracked mirror. He once again attempted in vain to wipe away his tears, only for more to fall. With a tiny whimper, Angel then opened the front of his fur coat, revealing that he had been wearing his black miniskirt beneath it. With a few sniffles, he then began to pinch the skin around his stomach, growing more and more self-conscious all the while. Angel then locked himself within one of the stalls before dropping to his knees in front of the toilet, sticking his finger down his throat and forcing himself to vomit. Although only bile came up since Angel had not eaten anything at all that day. "Angel, darling, are you all right?" Alastor inquired with a slight knock upon the stall's door. He had come in to check on Angel after not fully believing his lie, only to quickly grow concerned once he heard Angel retch. "No." Angel groaned sickly, his throat burning from the stomach acid. "Are you feeling ill? Was it something you ate?" Alastor frantically questioned as Angel flushed the toilet before exiting the stall. "Yeah," was Angel's only groggy response as he found himself unable to make eye contact with his partner. "Well then, let's get you to bed," Alastor exclaimed before hurriedly beginning to lead Angel out of the restrooms. After letting Charlie and the others know that Angel was not feeling well, Alastor would then lead Angel up to the hotel room they shared, where the two would then proceed to get ready for bed. After a quick shower, Angel changed into a short scarlet silk see-through nightgown that was decorated with black frills. Angel then climbed into bed and struck a seductive pose as he flashed Alastor a playful smirk. Much to Angel's disappointment, Alastor's only response had been to shove a body pillow in between himself and Angel before settling down into his side of the bed with a sigh of content. For a while, Angel just stared at the fluffy, soft barrier that separated him from his partner, as the emotional barrier between them became all the more clear. Angel released a sad sigh before climbing out of bed and stepping out onto the balcony, deciding that he needed some fresh air. Once out on the balcony, Angel lit a cigarette and began to smoke in an attempt to calm his nerves. As he blew out a small puff of red smoke with a sigh, Angel began to reflect on his afterlife. While Alastor had never once struck him, Angel Dust still found himself to be more miserable in his current relationship than he had ever been with Valentino. With Alastor, Angel just felt so unattractive, so unwanted. Tears once again escaped from Angel's mismatched eyes as he began to wonder if this were his personal hell, doomed to be trapped within one horrible relationship after another. Angel's thin legs began to tremble as he stepped up onto one of the outdoor chairs, struggling to maintain balance in his high-heeled boots. In the high-heeled boots he refused to ever remove because of how much he hated the way his own feet looked in this monstrous form he was now forced to take. Angel stared down at the concrete below him. He contemplated jumping, only to remember that his wounds would just magically heal within seconds, and that he would still be trapped within hell. Dropping to his knees onto the floor of the balcony, Angel began to sob uncontrollably as he clutched the balcony's railing for dear life. Untouchable, Chapter 2, Anniversary. The next morning, Angel awoke to the bright, unforgiving light of hell's fires blazing through the window and shining down upon his puffy, red, swollen eyes. Angel groaned in light irritation as he rolled over in order to turn his back to the window. As he rubbed the crust from his mismatched eyes, all he could think about was how much he hated it when Alastor would make him cry himself to sleep at night. Alastor had been the only person who could upset him this badly for quite some time, and Angel hated how easily the radio demon could do so. Angel snatched the body pillow off of the bed, only to realize that Alastor was no longer in bed with him. "Al?" Angel called out as he sat up to scan his surroundings for his deer-like companion. "Right here, Angel darling," Alastor cheerfully replied as he stepped out of the bathroom, now fully dressed. "What are y'all dressed up for?" Angel demanded, narrowing his eyes at his partner. "Why, I'm off to work, of course. I'll be home later this evening, so don't wait up," Alastor beamed in response. "You're really working? Today of all days?" Angel asked incredulously, anger and sadness beginning to fill his heart once again. Had Alastor really forgotten what day it was? "I work every day, darling, you know that," Alastor happily reminded him. "Even on our anniversary?" Angel muttered beneath his breath. "What was that, darling?" Alastor questioned as he straightened his tie. "Nothing." Angel pouted before burying himself beneath the covers. He just could not bear to look at Alastor at the moment before bursting into tears all over again. Alastor turned to look at the trembling lump within the covers with slight concern in spite of his grin, as he began to wonder if something were bothering his partner. He ultimately decided to deal with whatever was troubling Angel when he returned to the hotel, since he would be late for work otherwise. Upon noticing that Alastor had left him all alone, and that he was not even going to try to comfort him, Angel continued to softly cry as he remained hidden beneath the covers. Crap, I lost my place. Hold on. After a good long cry, Angel Dust got ready, got dressed for the day before sneaking out of the hotel. The spider was furious with his partner's callous actions, and was looking to get a bitter revenge upon him, as he took up his old, long-since abandoned spot upon the street corner. Angel decided that he might as well have as much fun as he could today. If Alastor was going to fail to respect him in their anniversary, then why should Angel bother to respect their relationship? On top of everything else, Alastor had been making Angel feel so unattractive lately that Angel just needed to prove to himself, if not all of hell, that he was still attractive. That he could still have any demon he wanted to. A burst of confidence shot through Angel when a limousine already pulled up to the street corner within a matter of minutes. "Hey, baby, you looking for a good time?" Angel purred flirtatiously as he adjusted his chest fluff before approaching the vehicle. Inside of the vehicle sat none other than Prince Stolas, The owl appeared saddened and disheveled, a shell of his former self, as he reached over to open the passenger's door for Angel without even so much as a word to the spider. Oblivious to the owl prince's clear depression, Angel excitedly hopped into the limousine, excited that his first client had not only come quickly, but that he was also a wealthy, well-known prince. Angel practically could not wait to rub this experience in his soon-to-be ex-lover's face. Stolas remained completely silent as he somberly drove RadioDust back towards his mansion. As Angel awkwardly sat in silence, he slowly found himself beginning to regret his decision to go back to his old profession, as he found himself wondering if Stolas were going to kidnap him or even harm him. Sadness began to fill Angel once again upon realizing that Alastor probably would not care if anything like that truly did happen to him. "Hi, Via." Stolas attempted to greet his daughter once he saw her upon entering his mansion. Octavia's only response was to glare daggers at her father before angrily storming back off to her bedroom. Angel and Stolas both flinched upon hearing the door to her bedroom slam. Stolas then released a sad sigh before beginning to lead his new hooker upstairs. "Luna, are you feeling all right, dear?" Stolas then gently questioned as he knocked on one of the many doors that lined his massive upstairs hallway. "Go away!" Luna snapped from the other side of the door, choking on a sob in the process. Even though Angel's guard around the prince was beginning to lower, he found himself mentally questioning just what was going on in the prince's life at the moment. Everyone knew of Stolas divorcing his wife, but no one had ever stopped to think about how this would be affecting Stolas, or his daughter, for that matter. On top of that, Angel found himself questioning who Luna was, as Stolas released another somber sigh before leading Angel into his bedroom. Once they had entered Stolas' fancy master bedroom, Stolas removed the old, tattered, burgundy robe of which Angel had neglected to notice that he was even wearing until now. Stolas then climbed into his king-size bed and made himself comfortable as he waited for Angel to join him. Angel had to admit that for an owl, Stolas had a perfectly sculpted body. Angel smirked at his new client with a flirtatious gleam before making his way over to the bed and climbing on top of Stolas. Stolas shivered lightly as Angel began to place tiny kisses along his neck, soon trailing down his chest and then his stomach. Just as Angel was about to do what he did best, he stopped when Stolas' body began to shake with soft sobs. "What's with you?" Angel snapped, growing frustrated from the lack of passion in his life. I'm sorry. I just can't tonight. I just can't," Stolas explained in between sobs before beginning to full-on weep. "Oh, I get it. Is it because I'm too ugly for you? Too fat?" Angel accused, since seemingly making a client cry was only confirming his insecurities that he was no longer attractive. No, it isn't that. You look amazing. It's just..." Stolas began to trail off as he began to contemplate if he should open up to this complete stranger. Angel's glare then softened once he realized how harsh he was being towards someone who was already clearly in pain, before he even picked Angel up. "Hey, I'm sorry. We don't have to do anything. We can just talk," Angel offered with a look of sympathy. He had clients who just wanted to talk or cuddle in the past, so Angel knew how to handle situations like this. Angel just wished he had not gotten one of these clients whilst he was trying to prove to himself and Alastor that he was still attractive. Stolas nodded in response, covering his beak to stifle a sob, as more tears fell. Reluctantly, Stolas then began to tell Angel his story. "I was attending a royal ball with my ex-wife and daughter. We were answering questions about our separation when suddenly..." "Stolas, no!" Suddenly, my Blitzy ran up onto the stage. "Blitzy?" I was concerned because he was in tears, when all at once I heard a gunshot ring out. I heard Blitzy gasp, and then that was when I noticed he was hurt. His chest was glowing like nothing I'd ever seen before. Blitzy's eyes then rolled to the back of his head as he began to fall. I rushed to catch him. With Blitzy in my arms, I dropped to my knees because of how weak they felt, my own eyes blurring with tears. Blitzy, no. Stay with me, please. I pleaded as Blitzy tearfully stared back up at me. As he gasped for air, I could tell he wanted to say something. But before he could get a word out, the life left his eyes. I cried. I screamed until my wails of agony turned into the screeches of an owl. And then everything went black. When I woke up, I realized I'd gone on a rampage. I destroyed half of the Pride Ring, and I even turned Stella to stone. I don't remember doing it, but Via still hasn't forgiven me for killing her mother. Tonight is the anniversary of that dreadful night. I lost the one true love of my life. Stolas finished his story with a sigh of defeat, before once again breaking into a fit of sobs. Wait, were you that giant owl monster that attacked the Pride Ring? Sorry, hold on. Wait, were you that giant owl monster that attacked the Pride Ring? Angel questioned as the terrifying memories of Charlie barricading the hotel's doors and windows to keep the giant destructive beast out began to flood his memories. We're on your side! He remembered hearing Charlie cry out, assuming it was Extermination Day, when the beast had actually began to attack the hotel. Holy crap! Angel remembered shouting when one of the windows had been shattered by a gargantuan black claw. I'm afraid so, Stolas confirmed through his sobs. Hey, it'll be okay. Angel attempted to soothe the owl as he pulled Stolas into a gentle hug. Stolas accepted the hug as he buried his face into the fluff of Angel's chest and just allowed himself to cry for a good long while. As Stolas sobbed into Angel's soft, fluffy chest, he could not help but notice that Angel smelled faintly of cotton candy. Angel gently began to stroke Stolas' feathers as he allowed the giant bird to cling to him for comfort. I'm sorry I wasted your time, Stolas apologized with a sniffle, after he had finished his good long cry. He then proceeded to pay Angel a large amount of money for his time. Don't worry about it, Angel reassured, in spite of the fact that his insecurities were now beginning to get the better of him. In turn, he refused to accept the money since he no longer had a pimp to answer to. And taking money from the bereaved bird just did not seem like the right thing to do. Can I see you again? Stolas then requested, since for the first time in a long time, he felt a sense of comfort around Angel, as if Angel were the missing piece to fill the imp-shaped hole Stolas now held within his heart. Sure thing, Angel happily agreed, since he actually did enjoy the time he spent with Stolas, even if it did worsen his insecurities. Stolas was a gentleman, just like Alastor once was to Angel a long time ago. Hopefully they could actually do something next time, though. Hey, can I use your bathroom real quick? Angel then requested. Of course, it's down the hall and to your left. Stolas politely instructed as Angel headed into the bathroom to force himself to vomit again. Maybe next time Stolas would find him more desirable if he were just a little bit thinner. When Angel returned to the hotel later that night, when Alastor returned to the hotel later that night, he found that Angel Dust was already in bed. Angel, are you awake? Alastor gently inquired. Angel was awake, but he just could not bear to even speak to Alastor after having his worst insecurities proven right to him by the prince of all people. On the verge of tears, Angel decided to ignore Alastor and pretend to have already fallen asleep. Alastor sighed in defeat as he entered the bathroom to change into his pajamas. Perhaps he could talk with Angel about what was bothering him sometime tomorrow. Chapter 3 of Untouchable, Kiss the Guy. When Alastor once again went to work the following morning, Angel Dust decided that he desperately needed to spend some time with his best friend Cherry Bomb. As the two went out for coffee together, Angel relayed everything that had been bothering him about Alastor to Cherry Bomb. He then began to vent about the events of yesterday that had taken place with Prince Stolas. I think I'm losing my touch, Cherry. No one finds me attractive anymore. Angel sighed as he once again found himself on the verge of tears. Ange, don't say that. You're smoking hot, and if that radio demon and Prince can't see that, then there's something seriously wrong with him. Cherry reassured as Angel took a sip of his coffee to keep himself from bursting into tears again. Speak of the devil? Cherry then smirked once she had taken notice of a familiar limousine pulling up to their small outdoor table. Yoo-hoo, Angel Dust! Stolas then called out to his new friend as he rolled down his passenger's window with a friendly smile and wave. Your Highness, what are you doing here? Angel questioned with slight hope in his voice as he got up to approach the vehicle. Once Angel had approached, he could see that Octavia and Luna were in the very back of the limo. Luna was somberly staring out the window whilst Octavia looked as if she did not want to be anywhere near her father. I was just on my way to Lululand. You see, my daughters could use a bit of cheering up, Stolas explained as Octavia buried her face into her winged hands from embarrassment. Would you care to join us? Stolas then offered, much to Octavia's irritation. Angel looked to Cherry, of whom eagerly nodded in response with a double thumbs up before returning his attention to the Owl Prince. Yeah, sure, okay. Angel then agreed with an anxious smile before getting into the limo. This ought to be fun, Cherry chuckled before using her parkour skills to follow Stolas' limo from a distance. The car ride was awkwardly silent, since neither Angel or Stolas really knew what to say to each other. Octavia was pouting, upset that her father had decided to bring his new whore along for what was supposed to be a family outing, and all Luna could bring herself to think about was her deceased father figure. The first thing the group decided to do upon reaching Lululand was get lunch. Stolas, Octavia, and Luna all decided to drown their sorrows in funnel cakes, whilst Angel merely ordered a small cup of fruit, of which he would not even touch. Is everyone enjoying themselves? Stolas then decided to check everyone's mood as he himself forced a false sense of excitement in spite of his grief. Not particularly. Octavia practically spat whilst Luna looked as if she were on the verge of tears. Right, well, I'm going to go powder my beak. I'll be back shortly. Stolas released a nervous chuckle before excusing himself to the restroom, whilst Angel got up to throw his untouched food away. Are you okay? Octavia then asked Luna once Stolas and Angel had left. Unknown to the stepsisters, Angel could still hear everything they were saying, whilst he was over by the trash cans a short distance away. The spider, of course, could not resist the urge to eavesdrop on the girls' conversation. I just miss him so much. I never even got the chance to say goodbye or tell him how much he really meant to me, Luna admitted as she found herself wishing she had not been so cruel to her adoptive father in the past. I get it. It's hard losing a parent, especially to murder. Octavia sighed as Luna buried her face into her paws and began to cry softly. In turn, Octavia gently began to stroke Luna's hair in an attempt to comfort her. During their grief, Octavia and Luna had been each other's only source of comfort since both girls refused to talk to Stolas about their feelings over the loss of their respective parents, ultimately blaming him for both their deaths. Angel frowned with sympathy for the two girls, now feeling like more of a burden than he already had been feeling before. However, as Angel took notice of the way Octavia was stroking Luna's hair, he began to wonder if the two shared something more than just a sisterly bond. Angel's suspicions were confirmed by the way the two instantly pretended as if they had not even so much as looked at each other when both he and Stolas had returned to the table. All right, what shall we do next? A roller coaster, perhaps? Stolas then suggested as he once again pretended to be perky. How about the Tunnel of Love? Angel then suggested with a flirtatious bat of his eyelashes as he leaned in a bit closer to Stolas. Luna and Octavia instantly began to make false gagging noises at the thought, much to Angel's disappointment. The way the girls pretended to throw up was already giving Angel some unsavory ideas of vomiting himself. Well, that does sound rather nice. Stolas then agreed to Angel's idea, as his face began to heat up from a blush. The Owl Prince's suggestion filled Angel with something he had not felt since he was alive. Hope. Maybe it won't be so bad, Luna then suggested as she flashed Octavia a small shy smile with a blush of her own. Fine, Octavia relented with a sigh, unable to resist Luna's puppy dog eyes. Little did the group know that Cherry Bomb had secretly been watching that whole scene unfold from a distance. Perfect. A mischievous grin stretched its way over Cherry's countenance as she followed the group to the Tunnel of Love. The dark ride had not quite been what the group had been imagining, as it was dark, filthy, and filled with Fizzaroli animatronics doing terrible trumpet impressions. Time for the love, Doctor, to work her magic. Cherry snickered to herself after having knocked out the demon that had been controlling the ride. Now to set the mood. Cherry then proceeded to use her skills to hack into the ride's controls. There you see him, sitting there across the way. He don't got a lot to say, but there's something about him. And you don't know why, but you're dying to try. You gotta kiss the guy. Cherry began to gently sing into the microphone that was attached to the ride's controls in order to turn what was once an awkward ride of silence into more of a romantic experience. Yes, you want him. Look at him, you know you do. It's possible he wants you to. There's one way to ask him. It don't take a word, not a single word. Go on and kiss the guy. The Fizzaroli animatronics began to sing, as they were now under Cherry's control. Under the influence of the robot's lyrics, Stolas began to stare at Angel, of whom was just awkwardly twirling a strand of his hair around his index claw. Stolas began to lean in a bit closer to Angel's face, his red eyes glowing in the dark all the while. But he hesitated when Angel's mismatched eyes met his own red ones as he quickly looked away with a blush. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, my oh my, looks like the prince is too shy, not gonna kiss the guy. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, ain't that sad, it's such a shame, too bad you're gonna miss the guy. Go on and kiss the guy. The animatronics' tones all softened a bit more under Cherry's influence, as she figured that the ride could use a calmer atmosphere. Aw, look, Angel cooed as he pointed to Octavia and Luna, whom had been sitting in the boat that was in front of their own boat. Stolas looked to see Luna had her head resting upon his daughter's shoulder, whilst Octavia had her wing wrapped around Luna's shoulders. I'm so happy for them, Stolas practically gushed as he clasped his hands together with a delighted smile. Yeah, me too. Angel sighed sadly, averting his gaze from Stolas as he struggled not to tear up again, knowing that he would never find the type of love that Luna shared with Octavia. Is everything all right, Angel? Stolas questioned in concern as Angel was considering forcing himself to vomit over the boat's edge. Not really, Angel admitted with a sigh, contemplating if he should open up to Stolas like Stolas had opened up to him the day before. Well, why don't you tell me what's wrong? It might make you feel better. It made me feel better to talk to you yesterday, Stolas then suggested as he placed a hand upon Angel's thigh in an attempt to comfort him. In turn, Angel blushed at the touch. I'm kinda already in a relationship with somebody, Angel finally admitted, unable to even look Stolas in the eye. Oh. Stolas seemed somewhat deflated by Angel's admission, but he proceeded to listen to the spider regardless. But I think he fell out of love with me, Angel then added as he fought back tears. Oh? Stolas then perked up upon hearing that Angel might possibly be available to him soon. He now felt as if it were fate that had brought them together. He acts like I disgust him. He won't even kiss me. He makes me feel so ugly. Angel's voice began to waver as he continued to vent to Stolas about his failing relationship. Now's your moment, floating in a blue lagoon. Boy, you better do it soon, no time will be better. It don't take a word, not a single word, go on and kiss the guy. The Fizzaroli animatronics began to sing once again, a few of them doing trumpet impressions as Stolas gently caressed Angel's cheek in order to force the spider to look at him. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, my oh my, looks like the prince is too shy, not gonna kiss the guy. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, ain't that sad, it's such a shame, too bad, you're gonna miss that guy. The animatronics continued to sing as Angel began to blush at Stolas' touch upon his cheek. Well, I don't think you're ugly, Stolas reassured, beginning to blush as well, as he took notice of how beautiful Angel appeared within the tunnel of love's dim lighting. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't be scared, you gotta be prepared, go on and kiss the guy. Sha-la-la-la-la-la, don't stop now, don't try to hide it, how you wanna kiss the guy. As the animatronics sang, Stolas thought of all the times he had been rejected by Blitzo, how much it hurt him at the time, and how much he found himself able to relate to Angel's pain. Their respective blushes deepened as Stolas gradually began to lean in a bit closer to Angel's face, until his beak met with Angel's soft parted lips. Hey, you, I don't like your boyfriend, no way, I think you need a new one. Hey, you, I can be your boyfriend. The Fizzaroli animatronics then began to sing in victory as the makeout session began to ensue between the owl and the spider. By the time the ride had ended, Angel's fur was disheveled and his makeup was smeared terribly. Stolas' feathers were also disheveled, and he was covered in hot pink lipstick kiss prints. Their boat was completely covered in spider webs since Angel had finally been pleasured by the owl prince after far too long of not being touched by Alastor. Luna and Octavia appeared traumatized by what they had just witnessed their father do in public with some hooker he just met yesterday. Later into the night, Stolas dropped Angel off a few blocks away from the hotel, so as not to alert anyone to their secret affair. Stolas was more than understanding, since he knew all too well how hard it was to break off a dying relationship, having gone through a similar situation with Stella and Blitzo. Besides, Stolas always found the idea of being in a secret affair to be fun, since it brought back fond memories of his time with Blitzo. Where the hell have you been? Husk demanded when Angel finally entered the hotel. As Husk wiped down his countertop, he narrowed his eyes in suspicion at the love-struck way Angel seemed to be humming to himself. Out, was Angel's only response, as he practically skipped upstairs to join Alastor in bed. The radio demon had already gone to sleep hours ago, and had been worried sick about Angel's disappearance, as was Charlie. Husk grumbled, still suspicious of Angel's newfound happiness, as he mentally decided that he would need to keep an eye on the spider for the sake of his best friend Alastor. Chapter 4 of Untouchable, My Skin. Throughout the following week, Angel would continue to sneak off to see Stolas in secret, whilst Alastor was away at work. The couple mostly spent their time together at Stolas' mansion. After a bit of passion, the two would cuddle up to one another and watch a movie. Luna and Octavia were even beginning to warm up to Angel after getting to know him better. Angel encouraged their relationship and was ultimately the reason the two girls felt comfortable enough to officially come out to Stolas about their relationship. Stolas was of course accepting of his two daughters, which led to Octavia's bond with her father strengthening. Octavia had always been a daddy's girl, after all. It was no secret, even to Stella, that Stolas was her favorite parent. When Angel was with Stolas, the girl and the girls, he felt complete. Like he was a part of their family. During his outings with the Owl Prince and his family, Angel remained unaware of the fact that he was being spied on by none other than Husk. One night, when Angel had returned to the hotel in a good mood, as usual, he made his way upstairs and climbed into bed with Alastor, not even seeming to take notice to the body pillow for once. However, Angel did take notice of the small sniffles that seemed to be coming from Alastor. "Smiles?" Angel questioned in concern as he sat up to get a better look at Alastor. The red-clad man had his face buried into his pillow, his body shaking with gentle sobs as his ears remained flattened against his skull. "Smiley, are you okay?" Angel further inquired as he placed a hand upon his partner's shoulder. Though the couple had been struggling in their relationship for quite some time, a very small part of Angel did still care about Alastor. "Don't touch me!" Alastor snapped as he sat up to glare at his spider-like partner, tears streaming down his cheeks like blood from a fresh wound. His sudden reaction had of course startled Angel into flinching away. Now feeling hurt that his partner was snapping at snapping at him after having rejected him for so long. "I know about your little affair with that filthy owl." Alastor practically spat through his permanent grin as more tears gushed from his bright red eyes. At first Angel was stunned, but then the spider became angry. "I'm surprised you even care. You never even touch me." Angel finally snapped back at his partner on the verge of tears of his own. Who was Alastor to be angry at him when he barely even paid attention to Angel? "Angel," Alastor began, still enraged by his partner's infidelity. "No, I am done pretending like everything's fine when it's not." Tears finally escaped from Angel's own eyes as he snatched the body pillow off of the bed and threw it onto the floor. "You have no right to be mad at me when you don't even care about me. You make me feel like I'm some kind of disgusting freak and I'm sick of it. At least Stolas makes me feel desirable." Angel's voice broke, his mascara now beginning to run as he finally broke down into a fit of sobs. "Angel, I had no idea you felt this way." Alastor was now beginning to feel guilty as he reflected on all of the ways he had been pushing Angel away in the past. "Just tell me the truth, Al. Am I hideously disgusting to you?" Angel practically sobbed as he begged for Alastor to at least tell him the truth. No, Angel, of course not. Intimacy is a bit of a challenge for me," Alastor finally admitted as he reluctantly pulled Angel into a comforting hug. His guilt began to increase at the way Angel began to cling to him for dear life. As if his life depended on Alastor's warmth. Alastor gently began to stroke Angel's fur as the spider's body violently shook within his arms due to his sobbing. "I will try harder for you," Alastor then promised as he began to rub the small of Angel's back in soothing circles. "You really mean it, Al?" Angel's voice wavered as he stared up at his partner with a hint of hope behind his mismatched eyes. "If it means this much to you," Alastor reassured as he pulled his Angel closer to him. Angel smiled softly with a tiny sniffle before yawning and snuggling closer to Alastor, soaking in every moment of their first cuddle together. However, Alastor released an uncomfortable sigh at the closeness as he reluctantly allowed the spider to fall asleep within his strong arms. After a while, Alastor also fell asleep, as well as he hoped that he would soon get used to sharing moments of intimacy with Angel. The next morning, Alastor awoke bright and early as he always did after weaseling his way out of Angel's tight grasp around his waist. He got ready for the day and made his way downstairs to the lobby. However, before Alastor could have a chance to leave for work, he had been stopped by Charlie, of whom wanted to discuss a few new ideas she had for the hotel. Angel Dust awoke a few moments later to an empty bed, and soon followed it an empty feeling in the pit of his stomach. After getting ready for the day, Angel descended the staircase much more slowly than he usually did, due to the fact that he just felt so lightheaded that morning. "Good morning, Angel," Charlie greeted with a smile, only to frown in concern at the way Angel seemed to be clinging to the staircase's railing. "Are you feeling all right?" Charlie then inquired, alerting Alastor to his partner's strange behavior as well. Yeah, I just need some coffee. Yeah, that's it." Angel reassured before quickly pulling his now loose-fitting skirt back up. Once it had begun to slide down. Alastor and Charlie watched with concern as Angel ventured into the kitchen with the intentions of making a cup of coffee for himself. As Angel attempted to pour himself... I'm sorry. It's fine time for me to have an allergy attack. I should have brought a drink in here. Okay. As Angel attempted to pour a cup of coffee for himself, he swore lightly beneath his breath once his hand had suddenly spasmed, causing him to drop the mug onto the counter. "Angel, are you all right?" Charlie gasped once the cup had shattered onto the counter, causing a small piece of ceramic to fly up and cut Angel's forehead. Yeah, I'm fine. I just need a Band-Aid," Angel reassured as he made his way over to the powder room that was located beneath the staircase. When Angel had attempted to retrieve the small box of Band-Aids from the medicine cabinet, his hand spasmed once again, causing him to drop the box and ultimately spill the Band-Aids everywhere. The last thing Angel remembered was hearing Charlie and Alastor call out to him in concern before he passed out. When Angel finally awoke, he was lying in his own bed with his pet pig, Fat Nugget, snuggled up to him with a look of concern. "What the hell?" Angel groaned when he took notice of the IV that was hooked up to his arm. There were not a lot of doctors in hell, but thankfully Vaggie used to be a nurse in her lifetime. Vaggie thankfully knew what to do right away once Angel had passed out. She was also able to fortunately figure out what was ailing Angel and how to treat it. "What happened?" Angel then groggily questioned once he had taken notice of Alastor's presence next to his bedside. "Angel, darling, you passed out," Alastor explained as he gently took Angel's hand within his own. "I did?" Angel inquired as he struggled in vain to recall that morning's events. "You are severely malnourished. When was the last time you ate something?" Vaggie then exclaimed as she tried to hide her worry behind a mask of anger. "I don't remember. It's been days," Angel admitted with a sigh as he rested his head back upon his pillow. "Angel, why would you starve yourself like that?" Charlie demanded on the verge of tears. "I thought that maybe if I was thin enough, Alastor would finally want me." Angel's voice broke upon a sob as tears escaped from his mismatched eyes. Alastor's ears folded back with regret as tears began to sting his own eyes. "Alastor, wait!" Charlie called out after Alastor once the radio demon had rushed out of the room to hide the tears that were now cascading down his own cheeks. "Alastor!" Charlie chased after the deer before reaching out and grasping onto one of his hands to stop him. "It's all my fault," Alastor sobbed as he turned to face Charlie, the sudden display of emotion causing the blonde to flinch from surprise. "Oh, Alastor," Charlie then frowned from sympathy after seeing Alastor cry for the first time. "It's all my fault. I did this to him. It's my fault." Alastor's smile nearly broke through his frantic sobbing, but he forced himself to maintain it, not wanting to allow himself to become more vulnerable than he already had. In tears, Alastor rushed to the nearest restroom so that he could cry in private. Charlie simply released a sigh, since she was uncertain of what she could do to help her friends. Once in the restroom, Alastor stared intently at his reflection within the cracked mirror, just as Angel had done the night of the banquet that Charlie had been hosting for a majority of hell. Alastor's grinning lips quivered, but he refused to allow himself to frown, as he slowly began to unbutton his shirt. After a brief moment of hesitation, Alastor removed his shirt in order to examine the scars that covered his body. Oh, how he hated those scars with a passion. They made him feel so filthy, as if his body did not belong to him at all. Alastor burst into another fit of sobs, burying his face into his hands, since he could no longer bear to look at himself. For the sake of Angel, Alastor then vowed to work through his personal issues. He silently vowed to himself that he would no longer allow his trauma to have power over him, and that he would become more intimate for his Angel. Alright. Which chapter am I on? 5? Okay. Kiss Me Now or Catch Your Death. Chapter 5 of Untouchable. Thanks to Hell's curse of bitter semi-immortality, it only took Angel's body a few weeks to recover from his eating disorder. A few weeks too soon for Alastor, since this meant that Angel would be expecting more than just cuddles from him now. As Alastor prepared for bed, he was nearly startled out of his skin by Angel clearing his throat. Alastor flinched, turning to see Angel standing there in that cursed red nightgown, with a devious smirk upon his countenance. "Oh, Alastor," Angel purred with a sing-song voice as he approached the bed. "Are you ready to have the night of your life?" Angel then flirtatiously inquired before crawling into Alastor's lap. Well," Alastor stammered as he and Angel both began to blush at the closeness. He was then shushed by Angel placing his index claw over his lips. "You just sit back, relax, and let the professional handle the rest." Angel snickered before preparing to do what he did best. "Wait! Stop!" Alastor cried out from fear before Angel could even have a chance to remove his pajama bottoms. "Al, you promised!" Angel reminded with a slight pout. "I know, I'm sorry," Alastor sighed as his ears folded back from shame. "Just relax and let me do this. I promise you'll enjoy it," Angel reassured as he reached out to attempt to caress Alastor's cheek. However, he frowned when Alastor flinched away from his touch as if he were a monster. "Al, just let me do this. Let me do this," Angel begged, his voice breaking on a sob when Alastor continued to resist his touch. In a huff, Angel then crawled beneath the covers, turning his back to Alastor in the process. Alastor sighed when the spider began to softly sob as he snuggled back up to Angel from behind in an attempt to comfort him. However, Alastor's embrace would not be enough to comfort the spider this time, since Alastor just made Angel Dust feel so hideous. The following morning, after Alastor would head off to his job at the radio station, Angel would meet up with Cherry Bomb for another cup of coffee and a much-needed pep talk. "He promised me he'd try harder, but anytime we try anything, he just freaks out. I just don't get what he's so scared of," Angel began to lament before drowning his sorrows in his caramel iced coffee. "You know, when spiders mate in the wild, the male will give the female a little nip to calm her down," Cherry then informed Angel with a small smirk. "What are you getting at?" Angel questioned as he gave Cherry a look of skepticism. "I'm just saying, it might help Alastor calm down if you gave him a small shot of your venom," Cherry then suggested before taking another sip of her own coffee, as Angel began to ponder over the suggestion. Later that night, Angel would once again attempt to court Alastor, this time while wearing a pastel pink nightgown. "Angel, please." Alastor began to protest when Angel started off by placing a small trail of gentle kisses along his collarbone. "Just relax," Angel reassured with a hint of irritation in his tone. He was fed up with Alastor constantly resisting him, so this time he laced his fangs into the tender skin of Alastor's neck in order to inject him with a small hint of his venom. Just enough to force the deer into calming down. Alastor, of course, cried out in surprise at the stinging sensation of Angel's sharp fangs beginning to pump venom into his jugular, as he attempted to struggle, only to find that he soon felt too weak to do so. Angel, what have you done to me? Alastor began to panic once Angel's venom had rendered him unable to move. Just relax, Angel shushed him as he gently caressed Alastor's cheek. Angel, Alastor whispered as he attempted to resist Angel's kiss. His panic began to increase, causing his powers to kick in, though he was so weak due to Angel's venom that all his powers could do was turn on the radio. Well, is it dark enough? Can you see me? Do you want me? Can you reach me? Or I'm leaving. Better shut your mouth, hold your breath, kiss me now or catch your death. Oh, I mean this. Verosika Mayday's voice began to sing from the radio as Angel finally forced Alastor to kiss him. Angel, stop. Please. Angel. Alastor quietly began to beg as Angel slowly began to unbutton his shirt. As Angel took full advantage of his partner's incapacitated state, Alastor was sent back to a dark memory within his former lifetime. I told you to smile. Alastor could remember his attacker demanding of him as he proceeded to violate him further than he already had. Alastor wanted to scream, just as he had done back then, but Angel Dust's venom had rendered him barely able to speak. It felt like an eternity until Angel was finally finished with him. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? Was the last thing Alastor remembered before passing out was Angel Dust's blurry countenance smiling down upon him with a warm expression. That night, Angel would fall asleep upon Alastor's chest, for once feeling satisfied by his partner. When Angel awoke the next morning, he smiled upon realizing that Alastor was still asleep beneath him, as he made himself comfortable within his boyfriend's embrace for just a few more extra moments of cuddling with him. Angel's smile grew when he felt Alastor's gentle hand upon his head. For once, the spider felt like everything was going to be okay between them. That was until he felt Alastor's grip tighten within his hair. Alastor? Angel began in concern when he felt Alastor yank him off of him by his hair, throwing the spider out of bed and onto the hard floor in the process. Ow! Alastor, what the... Angel began to protest when he was cut off by Alastor's fist making contact with his mouth, knocking out his gold tooth. Alastor seethed with rage. He could feel his power recirculating within him. However, all anger faded when he heard Angel begin to sob uncontrollably. What have I done? Alastor asked to no one in particular upon realizing who he had just attacked. Alastor felt his heart sink into the pit of his stomach as he stared down at the love of his afterlife, curled up on the floor, and crying hysterically as Fat Nuggets attempted to comfort him. You promised you'd never hit me. Not you. You're different. You're special. Angel sobbed, provoking Alastor's ears to fold back. The deer was now on the verge of tears of his own. Angel, I'm so sorry, darling. Alastor began to apologize as he attempted to rush to his sobbing partner's aid. Get away from me! Angel then shrieked as he frantically began to kick at Alastor. Angel! Alastor then begged when Angel scooped up Fat Nuggets into his forearms and bolted out of the hotel, not caring that he was still naked. Angel, wait! Alastor called out after him as he gave chase. Angel, are you okay? Charlie then questioned after seeing the state that Alastor was in. Angel was in. Angel merely ignored the blonde as he ran past her. What happened? Charlie then stopped Alastor, whom simply looked ashamed by his actions. In the meantime, Angel sprinted as fast as his thin legs could carry him to Stolas' mansion. Having memorized the way after enough times of sneaking out to see him, Poor Angel was in hysterics as he frantically began to bang upon the front door of his second lover. Angel? Oh my stars, what happened? Stolas gasped at the sight of Angel's broken and bruised frame alone. He hit me, Angel shakily explained in between sobs. Stolas removed his cape and placed it around Angel in order to cover up his naked body. Both Luna and Octavia, of whom had been watching a movie in the living room, appeared concerned as their father led the sobbing, injured Angel inside. After Stolas had given Angel one of his robes, as well as some hot tea to help calm him down, Angel explained everything that had transpired the night before through his tears, whilst Fat Nuggets snuggled up into his lap in order to offer the most amount of comfort he could. Stolas was infuriated at the fact that the second demon he had ever come to love had been put into harm's way, just as his first love had been, as he mulled over ideas for a possible solution within his mind. Stolas? Angel sniffled hopelessly when Stolas remained silent for longer than he would have liked him to. Was Stolas judging him for what he had done to his previous lover? More tears fell as Angel found himself wishing that Stolas would just say something already. Hell is too dangerous, Stolas finally declared after a while. What? Angel hiccuped softly in confusion as he reached up to wipe away his tears. Hell is too dangerous, and no place for my little angel, Stolas clarified before looking over to his two daughters. Nor is it a proper place to raise a family. He then added, his heart shattering at the thought of any harm befalling his two daughters next. I propose we leave, Stolas then suggested. Leave? Angel inquired with bewilderment. Allow me to explain. My grimoire contains a spell that can allow us to access the human realm. We could all live amongst the humans and in disguise as humans ourselves. Only we'll be immortal. Stolas explained, his excitement growing as he voiced his wonderful idea out loud. I'm game, Luna agreed with a smirk as Octavia nodded in agreement. Well, it would be nice to be human again, Angel admitted as he looked down at his monstrous spider-like form self-consciously. His life had been cut short by a tragic overdose, landing him in the torturous pit of hell of all places. Sure, the world might have changed since 1947, but Angel would have Stolas there to guide him, as well as his new family. On top of everything else, he would be immortal, and nothing would be able to send him back to hell ever again. The only reason he would have had left to stay in hell would have been Alastor, but Angel no longer felt safe around him. When Alastor hit Angel, the spider lost any love he had left for the deer, since in his mind, Alastor had officially gone too far with taking his emotional abuse to physical. Angel could barely tolerate the disgusting way Alastor made him feel about his body, but hitting him like Valentino used to was something that Angel could not handle, on top of everything else wrong Alastor had been doing in their former relationship. Sure, he had his friendship with Cherry Bomb, but with Stolas, Angel would be getting everything he always wanted, a loving family. Alright, let's do it. Let's get the hell out of hell. Angel finally agreed with a smirk as Stolas and his daughters cheered along with him. Okay, final chapter of Untouchable, Parting Ways. Angel, Stolas, Luna, and Octavia would all spend the rest of the day packing their bags in order to move to the human realm. However, it would not take long for Alastor to reach the Owl's mansion as he pounded upon Stolas' front door rather aggressively with the intention of retrieving his precious Angel. Al? Angel gasped with a look of horror once Stolas had answered the door to none other than Alastor. The fearful way Angel looked at Alastor caused the deer's heart to shatter all over again. However, that petrified gaze also filled Alastor with a deep rage, since Angel had been the one to take advantage of him. If anything, Alastor felt as if he were the one who had a right to be traumatized, and felt as if Angel Dust had no right to be. Angel's fear increased at the way Alastor now seemed to be scowling at him with pure hatred in spite of his grin. The way Alastor now clearly seemed to be frightening poor Angel filled Stolas with a rage of his own. Angel, take my daughters, go upstairs and wait for me. Stolas instructed firmly, but still with a reassuring gentleness to his tone. On the verge of tears, Angel nodded before swiftly leading Luna and Octavia to the safety of Stolas' bedroom. Alastor, I should have known that you would be the one to harm my little angel, radio demon. Stolas then snarled as he set his red glowing gaze upon the redhead. Alastor's ears folded back with a newfound sense of fear, his heart dropping into his stomach once he had recognized Stolas' voice as the voice of his attacker. When Alastor was still a human, hold on. Yeah, when Alastor was still a human that simply experimented with calling upon demons, he had made a deal with Stolas, just as he had done with the other demons he had summoned. However, Alastor had not been prepared for the type of payment that Stolas had been expecting. At least you remembered to smile. Stolas smirked at the fear that he was now beginning to invoke within Alastor. I'm not afraid of you. Alastor gulped as he raised his microphone with trembling hands. Like you're not afraid of dogs. Stolas teased before roughly grabbing a hold of Alastor's microphone. At least I have enough class not to be a homewrecker. Alastor spat as he tugged back on his microphone in a vain attempt to regain control over it. Alastor instantly regretted his words when Stolas suddenly attacked him with an animalistic screech. Stolas, put me down! Alastor shouted before he was tossed down the stairs that led into Stolas' basement. Alastor groaned softly in pain, his frail body now covered in bruises as he looked up to see that his microphone had been snapped in half during the scuffle. He then looked up to see the silhouette of Stolas standing at the top of the staircase in an intimidating manner. Welcome to hell. Stolas then coldly retorted before slamming the basement door in order to then lock Alastor within the basement. Stolas! Alastor shouted after the owl, only to then freeze up upon realizing that he was now surrounded by monstrous carnivorous plants. Just when Alastor was beginning to think he was done for, Nifty busted through the brick wall effortlessly with a battle axe in hand. Nifty, darling, how did you get here all by yourself? Alastor beamed as Nifty began to slice through the horde of Stolas' monster plants with her axe. Husker! Alastor then gasped in concern once Husk was the next to burst through the wall. Get your ass up before more of these plant things show up! Husk shouted before then proceeding to help Nifty tear through Stolas' plants. To tear Stolas' plants to shreds with his sharp teeth and claws. A few of the plants tried to grab and even snap at Husk. However, the cat demon's wings allowed him to swiftly avoid the plant's attacks. Is he gone? Angel tearfully squeaked in the meantime as Luna and Octavia attempted to console him to the best of their abilities. Not to worry, my sweet angel. The nasty demon won't be able to harm you ever again. Stolas reassured his new boyfriend with a soft smile. Now, I just need to grab my grimoire, and we'll be on our way. Stolas then added before turning to retrieve his grimoire, only to discover that it was not on the dresser where he had initially left it. Looking for this? Charlie stood within the doorway to Stolas' bedroom with his grimoire in hand. Her large horns were now exposed as her glaring eyes now glowed a deep shade of red. Charlotte, what are you doing here? Stolas gulped as any trace of hope began to fade from Angel's tear-filled eyes. The real question is, how do you think my father would react if he found out you were using the grimoire he gave you to steal my clients? Charlie scowled as she folded her arms over her chest. Angel released a sob, fearing that his final chance of true happiness was over, until he felt Stolas place a reassuring hand upon his shoulder. Charlotte, my dear, I'm not trying to steal your clients. Don't you see? I'm only trying to help you. Stolas began as a sly smirk spread its way over his countenance. Help me? How so? Charlie skeptically began to question the owl. Don't you see? If Angel makes it to the human realm with the help of my spell, he would officially be rehabilitated, Stolas explained. I would? Angel questioned as his own eyes widened a little. He would? Charlie mirrored Angel's question as her own eyes slowly began to return to normal. Indeed he would, my dear. What do you think it would do for your hotel's reputation if you stopped your one and only client from being rehabilitated? Stolas then questioned before outstretching his clawed hand in anticipation for Charlie to fall for his trick at any given moment. Charlie appeared uncertain as she looked to Stolas, his two daughters of whom looked at her pleadingly, and then lastly to Angel, of whom looked at her with an equally pleading expression. Please, Charlie, I ain't happy here no more. Angel sniffled, allowing Charlie to see just how broken he truly was. Reluctantly, Charlie retracted her horns before handing the grimoire back over to Stolas. You've made the right choice. Stolas grinned before using his grimoire to open up a portal to the human realm. It was only then that Alastor had managed to escape from the basement with the help of Husk and Nifty. Angel, wait! Alastor shouted after the love of his afterlife as he began to sprint towards the portal that Stolas had just opened up. Angel strived to ignore the cries of his former partner as he stepped through the portal with his new family. Anthony! Calling Angel by his true name was the only thing that managed to get the blonde to glance back at Alastor, if only for a moment. Angel was then turned into a human being seconds before the portal closed. Are you going to be all right? Stolas questioned at the sight of Angel's tears, the owl now having turned into his human form into a human as well as Luna and Octavia. Fat Nuggets had been turned into a bulldog as he stared up at his owner in concern. Angel then took Stolas by surprise when he pulled the older man into a tight hug. Thank you. Angel whispered into Stolas' ear with a gentle smile. Stolas smiled as well before leading his new family on a search for a new house to move into. In the meantime, back within the depths of hell, Alastor angrily began to punch the wall where the portal had once been repeatedly until his vision began to become blurred with tears. Upon realizing that his angel had been taken from him for good, and by his attacker of all people, Alastor dropped to his knees, his smile finally breaking into a frown as he began to bitterly weep. Alastor, are you okay? Charlie then asked when Alastor began to chuckle. Charlie's concern only grew when Alastor then began to laugh uncontrollably. Alastor? Charlie's eyes then began to fill with tears of regret as Alastor fell to the floor, clutching his sides as he began to laugh so hard that he was forced to cough a few times. After a few moments, Alastor's laughter died down into silence, and as the broken man began to stare up at the ceiling with a deep frown. He had lost his angel for good, and he had no one else but himself to blame. The end.